Today, I'm going to show you how to install this reverse osmosis system. Just like anything else, RO system is debatable whether it is good for your body or not. Today, we're not going to go into debate. Today, I'm just going to show you how to install it. The system itself is really compact. There is no tank whatsoever. All you see is the unit itself right here. It is sitting inside my cabinet, which is 36 inches, but inside, of course, there's only empty space of 35 3/4 of an inch. The height from here to the sink is about 19 inches, and the depth of my cabinet is 22 3/4 of an inch. The unit itself from here to here is about 6 inches, the height 15 inches, and the depth of this unit is 14. As you can see, there's no tank whatsoever, so there's plenty of room for all of your other stuff. Installation is ridiculously simple. If I can do it, and I'm not even a handy person, I have no experience whatsoever working with plumbing, pipes, and stuff like that. Hopefully my video will give you the confidence to install it yourself, because it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to install these countertop filter system. These countertop systems are extremely bulky and takes up a lot of space on your countertop, so it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And they're kind of expensive too. The system we'll install is about $200, and sometimes you can find it on sale as low as $170. But wait, what about the filters, right? Well, the filters are about $50, and you only replace them once a year for one of the filter. And the other filter is about $50 as well, and you replace that every 2 years. The meter, the dial, will tell you what to replace and when to replace it. Or you can always buy one of these TDS meters, and it'll tell you whether your water is clean or not. If the water is not clean, then it's time to replace the filters. I should mention that this unit is a no-name brand, or at least it's not super popular in the United States. Sometimes you get what you pay for. When I opened the box from Amazon, I was kind of surprised, because this is what you would see when you open the box, the first white box. It's held together by foam, thin foam, and tape. Inside is everything that you'll need. By the way, I have no idea what this plastic piece is right here. If you do know, please let me know in the comment section below. Inside this white box is a power brick. The unit definitely needs this power brick right here, so be sure there's a power outlet somewhere near this unit to power it up. In terms of materials and tools, you'll need a drill, a Phillips screwdriver, one of these drill bits to make the hole into your countertop, assuming that you have no existing holes in your countertop, a monkey wrench, drill bits. Optionally, you'll need a utility knife, Teflon tape, and kitchen caulk. Currently on my countertop, I only have two. One is the soap dispenser, the other one is hand dispenser. So I'm going to make another hole, the third hole, directly in the middle of it. To get the middle spot, I'm using the ruler and I'm marking it like so to get the middle X right there. Making this X will guarantee that you're hitting the hole right in the middle of these two holes. Or you can always drill a hole somewhere else. For me, I want it to be right here, everything on the right hand side. You know, before drilling the hole, you should verify what's underneath. And I didn't do that, but let me show you what I mean. This is my dish soap right here. Here's the hand soap right there. And this is the third hole that we're making. You can see that there was a metal bracket right here to hold the sink in place. I totally forgot to look underneath. And here you can see right there, I'm hitting it. So that's why I had to remove this metal bracket to hold the sink. It should be fine because I have 7 other brackets to hold the sink in place. So missing one should be okay, I guess. But you should definitely look underneath and be extra careful before you drill that hole. The bit that I have is 26mm or about 1 inches. It is diamond tip to cut through this quartz countertop. I believe mine is kind of wonky. It's off center, the tip that is. So that's why you're seeing it shaking back and forth like that. That's not good. But we can certainly manage it. You just gotta be aware that it is off center. As you're drilling, be sure to apply water to make sure that this whole thing is nice and wet. Otherwise, you'll damage the tip. And who knows, maybe your countertop as well. You can see that I'm taking a break every so often to make sure it's still wet. Once you have some nice traction on the countertop, it's time to remove that tip, that leading tip. There is an Allen wrench to remove that metal tip, And now you can just go straight through without any tip. You'll definitely want to go slow and take your time. Do not try to press super hard onto it. And of course, occasionally take a break to make sure the area is nice and wet. Try your best to keep the bit going in straight. You do not want to go down at an angle. This whole process right here of making the hole took me about 8 minutes. The instruction manual is kind of bare. So here we go. This is how you would install the water dispenser. I believe it's rubber piece first, and then the metal piece, and then another smaller washer, and finally the water dispenser. It fits like that. And of course, my old previous hole from the soap dispenser is much bigger than 1 inch. So I'm going to use a lot of silicone kitchen caulk to make sure that no water will ever get in. We'll need to drill a hole into this waistline. What happened is that the filter will purge some of the dirty chemicals and water into this waistline. This is a PVC pipe. I would recommend starting with a small drill bit first. You definitely don't want to start with a big bit, otherwise you might crack this whole pipe. So yeah, start with a small drill bit first. Obviously, don't puncture through the pipe. You just need 1 hole, not 2 holes. Now that we're done with the small bits, go ahead and start working your way up to 1/4 inch. Because ultimately, you just need a 1/4 inch hole. There's a small sticker. You need to apply that to one side of the clamp. Make sure that it's in the middle. So that means the holes are matching with the other hole. There we go, that looks good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Almost in the middle is fine. This will prevent any water leaking into your cabinet. The water valve splitter is included, so we're going to install right here. This is our existing water supply line. Make sure that you close it. So it's clockwise to close and counterclockwise to open. Now that it's closed, go ahead and turn on the water faucet to release all of the excess water that's in it. To release the cold water supply, you'll need a small Allen wrench. This is probably 6 inches. There's no way you can do this with your hands. I try. So again, counterclockwise to release it. Make sure that you have water towels ready on hand to soak up whatever excess water that's leaking around. The adapter that's provided is a lot bigger, but luckily they gave you these brass adapter to go from big to small or small to big accordingly. So yeah, 2 brass adapter is included to make sure that everything fits on tight and snug. For every water connections, we're going to use Teflon tape to make sure that there's absolutely no water leakage whatsoever. Wrap Teflon tape clockwise, as you can see here. So assuming that you're looking at the thread head-on, just apply the tape in a clockwise fashion. Here we go, onto the thread and spin it clockwise. Make sure that everything is nice and tight before you let it go. I would say wrapping it 2 or 3 times is good enough. There's no need to wrap it like 4 times. You can use a scissor to cut if you want accuracy, I guess, but I find that pulling it out is good enough. Before actually applying the brass adapter onto the threads, as you see here, make sure that you apply the black O-ring onto it. Otherwise, you'll definitely experience water leakage. So here's 1 rubber piece. And here's another rubber piece that's a little bit bigger for the other adapter. Before you install the 2 adapters on, make sure that all the threads have the Teflon tape. Otherwise, it'll be a nightmare to install in a cabinet. There's not a lot of space in there. Here you can see I have a bunch of Teflon tape on. So all I have to do is screw it in and then tighten it with a wrench. With all of the adapters in position, it's finally time to screw the water supply to the faucet back in. Make sure that all of the valves are still closed, of course. The valve for the cold water supply is still in the off position. And for the adapters, make sure it's in the off position as well. Be sure to use a wrench to tighten all of the nuts, all of the connections in place. You don't need it to be super tight, but it's tight enough that you can't move it with your hand. The tubes that were provided were very long, much longer than I needed it to be. So I'm just going to use this special cutter to cut it directly at a 90-degree angle. You can use a utility knife, that's fine, but make sure that you're cutting it straight, 90 degree, not at an angle. Using this cutter is ridiculously easy. All you have to do is put it in the middle. Perfect 90-degree angle. Now it's time to make all of your connections. By the way, this white spot right here, I have no idea what it is. If you do know, please let me know in the comment section. So here we go with the cold water supply. All you have to do is press it straight in. And on the other end, press firmly into this port right here. Now it's time to install the red line, which is the waistline, into your hole that you made earlier. Pressing the red tube into your waistline is kind of tricky, but once it's in, it's time to press the adapter in further by pressing on this little lever right here. Press it as you go along and then it will fit in. Once it's in, use this blue clip that's provided, insert it into the little slot. This blue clip basically makes sure that there's no way that the tube can slide out accidentally by itself. If you ever need to remove the red tube or any tube, remove the blue clip and then you can press the white tube in, pull the red tube out, if that makes any sense. On the other end of the red tube, all you have to do is press it in and it will stay in. Finally, we can install the clean tube. On one side, it will go into the box as seen here. On the other side, you just press into the metal connection. Make sure that it goes all the way in. Now it's time to turn on all of the valves and verify that there's absolutely no leakages whatsoever. If there's ever a single drop, verify where it's coming from and fix it. Otherwise, you'll have a nightmare later on. I highly recommend one of these water leak sensor. As soon as there's a leak, it will soak up in the towel and the towel will hit the water sensor. This is a special water sensor where it will make a sound as well as alerting my phone that there's a water leak in the house. I have these water leak sensor everywhere in the house where there's a chance of water leaking, like the sink, the toilet, the water heater, the washing machine. Yeah, basically everywhere because I'm paranoid. There's only one connection in the back for the power supply and plug that into the wall. This is what you will see when you first power it up. It is definitely not touchscreen. I believe there's only one button, which is the reset button. Here you can see there's only 2 filters and the machine should let you know which filter to replace when it's time. Alright, here's a moment of truth. We're going to do a speed test. Let's do cold water first. I'm doing cold water at maximum power, maximum speed. It took about 8 seconds to fill up this 1.5 cup of water. We're going to do the same thing with the clean water. Before you actually use the super clean water, you need to purge it. So I would say purge it for about 6 seconds, and then you can use it. It took about 13 seconds for the clean water to come out. And now we're going to test it with this TDS meter. It will measure how clean the water is. So let's wiggle around. And we're seeing that it's about 343 for the tap water. Water that's coming straight out of the sink without any filtration whatsoever. I'm going to reset it and do the same thing for the super clean RO water. Stir it around. And we're seeing it in the 30s. Yeah, this water is super clean. Relatively super clean. 30 parts per million, by the way. Finally, we're going to do a noise test. The ambient noise without all the kids running around, I would say, is at this level. Filling up the tap water makes this noise, this normal noise at noise level. Finally, this is the noise level you get when using the RO system. You'll definitely hear a humming sound, but it's not super noisy where it will drive you crazy. Alright, hopefully this video helps you on how to install this reverse osmosis system. Overall, I think this is the best bang for the buck. The system is cheap. The filters that you have to replace every year or every 2 years is also cheap. You get super clean water. It doesn't take up space in the cabinet. I know that the packaging itself looks cheap, but the unit works as advertised. I really appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and thanks for watching.